Greetings, Internet faithful. I am some guy named Rob from On Your Marks Wrestling, and I am here with another Rob Recaps Raw, a weekly look at the good, the bad, and the ugly from the Red Team this week for April 2nd, 2018. Just a quick note before I begin, I'm doing this on incredibly little sleep. So like The Miz last night on commentary, I may ramble a bit. Unlike Miz on commentary, I'm not going to talk about how much I enjoy being peed and pooped on, because I feel that these are the sorts of things that should only be shared with either loved ones or very special friends that you pay by the hour. So don't expect that sort of commentary around here right now. So let's begin with the good on the show, because that won't take long. I can get it out of the way and get to all the things that really annoyed me. This being a go-home show, it really was supposed to be setting up all of the matches for WrestleMania that's upcoming in the next few days, depending on when you listen to this, or maybe WrestleMania 34 is already passed by the time you listen to this, in which case, why are you listening to this? Anyway, there really wasn't much good on this show. Which is why I'm stalling. I'm trying to fill some time under the good, because I don't want to come off as needlessly cynical, but this was one of those episodes that really, really brought out my inner cynic. But as far as the good goes, I really liked the first two matches of the night. I thought that Sonya Deville versus Bayley was a good match. I liked the end. I liked that both of them could fight. I liked that both of them could wrestle. And I like the finishes, the sort of trading the roll-ups and the cradles and everything. Bayley picks up the win. This, to me, the whole post-match thing, I'll get to after. But I really like the match that happened in the ring. Also really like Seth Rollins and Finn Balor. I thought that match told a great story. I thought Miz's commentary was a little bit superfluous. It really didn't need to happen. But overall, I really, really enjoyed how they did this match, with one exception, and I'll get to that later as well. And the final thing on the positivity train, I rather liked the Asuka and Dana Brooke match with going against Mickie James and Alexa Bliss. I thought that Dana Brooke looked a lot stronger than she had in recent matches. Okay, recent being a relative term, because other than, let's say, the Royal Rumble, I think the last time I saw her on TV was back in November of 2017. In a non-Titus Worldwide standing at the ring doing nothing kind of role. But yeah, it was actually pretty good. I mean, look, if you're going to go back to the Rock and Roll Express type of tag team formula, let's just say that Dana Brooke really, really did Ricky Morton proud with her performance last night. It was pretty good. I thought that the match overall was decent. I thought the after the match was really good as well, with Nia Jax running in. And, yeah, that's a nice tidy sum of everything I liked about the show. So let's get to everything I really didn't like about this show last night. I'm going to start with the entire opening segment of Raw. The first 25 minutes of Raw were completely forgettable and an absolute waste of time, and very, very emblematic of problems that still haunt creative in the WWE. That being that no matter what you do, no matter what is happening, no matter what goes on, whatever the circumstance, or whatever is best for business, we always have to make Stephanie McMahon look good. It starts off with her music hitting. She's coming out doing a really stupid dance. She looks like a recently divorced soccer mom who's discovered Pilates and CrossFit and thinks that, that dressing like her 16-year-old daughter is going to make her cool and hip again. She's trying to be the hot mom. It's not working, Stephanie. I'm going to let you know that right now. Because when it comes right down to it, she has a face that looks exactly like the front of the truck from that movie Maximum Overdrive, that sort of goblin head. And her voice is the cure for Viagra. So the whole hotness thing, it's not happening. That stupid dance that she does, that sort of prancing around and whatever that happens when she's coming down to the ring. She always has to get the best lines in. She always has to be put over. She always has to be made to look strong. And of course, she gets the last sort of move on Ronda Rousey, which, by the way, was sold horribly. That looked terrible. The move looked terrible for one. It was all done in super slow motion. I was actually wondering if I was on my PVR and I had the slow motion button turned on, because that slam through the table happened so incredibly slowly. It was painful to watch, and the selling that Ronda Rousey did to that slam through the table was equally painful to watch. I think it was more painful for me than it was for her to actually go through the table. But to make a short story long, in the end, we get Stephanie McMahon looking good, standing tall, always getting the best lines. Nobody really gets one over on her, except for that one line about whether or not she's a righty or a lefty, because we want to make sure she can still sign the checks after Ronda Rousey breaks her arm. Really, that's about as close to a comeuppance as Stephanie ever gets, and it's really, really problematic. Because you're going to inject a McMahon into every storyline, into every major pay-per-view, especially WrestleMania. You can't do it this way. If you go back and you look to when Vince McMahon was injecting himself into the main storyline, which was basically the entire Attitude Era and beyond, up until he kind of took his on-screen hiatus, Vince McMahon got a lot of comeuppance on screen. He took a lot of bumps. He took a lot of comeuppance. He got shot down verbally a lot. This never happens with Stephanie, ever. And this is further compounded by the fact that most of what Stephanie says serves to bury the on-air talent. You know, the people who are going out and actually putting on the matches. So she goes out, she buries the talent on the mic. She's made to look good. She's given all the best lines. She never gets her comeuppance, lather, rinse, repeat. And she's terrible on the mic. Her delivery's horrible. For some reason, she thinks she's funny, so they try to give her funny lines as well to try and give her sort of that snarky humor, which has all the delivery of a wet beer fart at a funeral. So ultimately what you end up with is a segment that feels way longer than it actually is, and this is on a show that's already full to the gills. It is nothing but fat. This show had very, very little lean type of actual wrestling or anything that actually really did anything. Case in point, Matt Hardy defeating Goldust. Why was this on the show? This had no business being on the show. Matt Hardy has no business being on TV, quite frankly. I have to turn off my TV. Well, not turn it off. I have to turn the sound off when he comes on and cuts a promo, because honestly, it makes me mad. His promos are like the worst word soup or word salad that was ever spewed out by the Ultimate Warrior, but read out by the genius Lanny Poffo in an even more pompous voice, if that is at all possible to imagine. It's terrible. His delivery is terrible. The character is terrible. Oh man, it is just a mess. But seeing as how Matt Hardy, or Woken Matt Hardy, is really the subject of his own video, or really should be, I'm going to cut it there, because really I could rant on this for a long, long time, and I still have a lot of things to get through for this show that I didn't like. Another waste of time, John Cena and The Undertaker, the ongoing saga of John Cena and The Undertaker. I'm going to defer to On Your Marks Wrestling Zone, Ryan the Wrestling Machine Jansen, and a tweet that he put out last night with regards to the John Cena segment. And it is the definition of irony. John Cena saying that he doesn't want to be a part-timer, taking up a full-timer spot at WrestleMania by joining up in a battle royal or with Braun Strowman, all the while taking up a full-timer spot on Raw to call out yet another part-timer for a WrestleMania 34 match that will ultimately serve to take up a full-timer spot. Now, if that doesn't qualify as textbook irony, I have absolutely no idea what does. This segment went on entirely too long, and the sad thing is, they still have time to ruin another 20-minute segment on Smackdown to do exactly the same thing, because John Cena can invoke his free agent status, which is another thing that I find needlessly annoying. I don't know why they bother with this. This is just one of those things. This is the go-home show, and I wish John Cena had gone home and stayed home. Elias versus Heath Slater, didn't we see this last week or the week before? Like, really, this is exactly the same match. It's a jobber squash for Elias. I get that putting Elias over is a really good thing. Can we do it to somebody else? Why didn't he squash Kurt Hawkins? Why did it have to be Heath Slater again? Although at least this time he didn't take out Rhino at the same time. So I suppose that's progress? I don't know. This to me, it was just sort of another useless segment. Didn't really further anything. Didn't really set anything up. It wasn't even particularly relevant for the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. So I don't get what's going on with that. Speaking of the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, we actually got confirmation that both the Andre the Giant Battle Royal and the Women's Battle Royal will both be on the pre-show, the kickoff show for WrestleMania 34. Did anyone in creative think for half a second what kind of fatigue that's going to put on your crowd for WrestleMania? You're going to have 2 Battle Royals in a 2-hour span before the main show. Why would anybody care? If I'm at home and I'm watching the pre-show, why would I look at this and go, yeah, I really got to order this event? Look, they've got 2 Battle Royals. Now, I get that the Royal Rumble does this all the time. Well, it will be doing it all the time going forward. But at least with that, there's sort of the element of who's going to be next into the Rumble. There's a bit of a mystery element. There's the countdown aspect. There's the surprise entrance. Battle Royals start with everybody in the ring already, so there's no real surprises. It's just, okay, wait for someone to win. That's not really a compelling match in 2018. Now, I get that the women's revolution is all about making sure that the women have the same types of matches and sort of the equal types of matches as the men do, but why do you have to put them on the exact same pay-per-view? Why could you not make the women's Battle Royal something you put at SummerSlam? And instead of maybe doing a Battle Royal, what you can do is, I don't know, maybe a Survivor Series style elimination match. Raw versus SmackDown. You have enough women on the roster to be able to do something like this. Why not do it? This actually would have been the perfect opportunity to feature a different type of match, get a lot of the women involved, so at least they're doing something, because you want to put them on the show. And at the same time, you can actually further real storylines, because now you have pinfalls and submissions that come into play, as well as tag team dynamics that come into play. And it's easier to follow all of the action and get all of those storylines set up while you're doing something like an elimination match. And, of course, the other thing that I wasn't too happy about was finding out that the Cruiserweight Championship was also going to be on the pre-show. This was the type of thing that actually got Neville to leave the company last year, because he got really pissed off that he was moved to the pre-show, and nobody really told him until the last minute. I mean, I get it. You want to have a title match on your pre-show. Look, this is one of those things, if you're trying to promote your WWE Network and you want to get it across that the WWE Network is worth buying and worth signing up for, you need to put the network exclusives on the main pay-per-view. You need to put the Cruiserweight Championship on the main pay-per-view. This could be the match of the night. Cedric Alexander and Mustafa Ali, these guys are really, really good. These guys can put on a 5-star match. It would surprise me if they didn't get close to a 5-star match, unless the executives really, really screw it up and only give them 6 or 7 minutes to get the match done. But these are guys that can really tear it up in the ring. These are guys that, if you give them a really good match on the main card, you can get more people signing up to the WWE Network, because they're going to have that exposure. They're going to go, oh wow, this is what I've been missing week after week. This is what people are talking about. This is the 205 Live, now that Triple H is running it, etc., etc. Why are you not taking that revamped brand and putting it on the main show, so you could give it the biggest possible spotlight, so you could make the most money from getting more people to sign up for the network? I don't get it. Is the WWE allergic to money or something? Is that why they spend all their time trying to shoot themselves in the foot and trying to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory? Anyway, moving away from the pre-show and moving to what will ostensibly be the main event for WrestleMania. For the 4th consecutive year, Roman Reigns will close out WrestleMania. I don't know why. There are clearly athletes both now and in the past, who were well more deserving of this type of accolade. But anyway, he got to close out the show with Brock Lesnar in another segment where, he did the whole I'm the locker room leader sort of thing, which kind of made me want to vomit in my mouth. This was kind of pointless. Everything after Paul Heyman stopped speaking was pointless. I would love, first of all, for Paul Heyman just to hype up every single match from now on for the rest of the year, whether or not Brock Lesnar's in it. Paul Heyman makes everything seem more exciting. He makes every match seem like it's the biggest thing on earth, especially since this is a match we've seen before. This is a beatdown we've seen before. I really don't care. I'm going to have a hard time paying attention to this match, truth be told. I'm really not invested in it anymore. They finally managed to get Roman Reigns a face pop because Paul Heyman went so far over the top to paint Brock Lesnar as a villain. It was very, very comical. The only thing that was missing was sort of the Snidely Whiplash mustache twirl. That was the only thing that was missing from that promo to make Brock Lesnar look more heelish than he could possibly be. And the one thing that the WWE does not seem to realize is once Brock Lesnar is out of the picture, they're not going to have anybody that's going to maintain that type of momentum for Roman Reigns, and he's going to fall on his face again as a champion. This is not what you want for the top guy in the company. The top guy in the company should not have to wonder if he's going to get cheered or if he's going to get booed in that sort of Hulk Hogan heat where people are just sick and tired of seeing him in the main event constantly because he's being shoved down everybody's throats. Okay, and now with all that ranting and raving out of the way for all the things that I did not like about Raw, let's go into the ugly. Why? Why would you take what is easily the match of the night, turn it into a split screen, put the smaller part of the split screen as the match in the lower left corner, and run a commercial for WrestleMania while you have a fantastic match on your screen? Why would you run a commercial for WrestleMania 34 during a match that features Seth Rollins and Finn Balor, two guys who could arguably headline WrestleMania in their own right? These guys are talented enough to close out the show and put on a 5-star match. Why on earth are you wasting this to put on a commercial for WrestleMania? You know what? This 3-hour Raw will end up having less actual action on it in terms of wrestling than the pre-show will on Sunday. The pre-show is actually going to have more actual action and things going on and things that matter. This was a giant 3-hour commercial for WrestleMania 34 that featured one really, really good match, a couple of quality matches, and a lot of filler. Tons and tons of filler. This is one of those shows that could legitimately be compared to an episode of Sunday Night Heat from back in the day. This is like an episode of WWE Superstars, or even better, the old school, for those who were around for the classic era, this is the Superstars of Wrestling type of show, where you have a few superstars show up, you have a couple promos being cut, lots of video packages, nothing of consequence, and nothing really moves forward. I don't know what's been going on. Smackdown the last couple of weeks has been doing a really, really good job of setting up their matches for WrestleMania. First of all, with the in-ring action and with organic promos that flow out of those matches. This has been all highlight reels, recaps. I think I saw Stephanie McMahon put Ronda Rousey through the table 4 times last night on Raw. It was just like, what's the point? Do they think that the segment happened so long ago that I can't remember what happened a couple hours ago? It's like what I said last week. It's like they've done their market research and they've determined that the primary people who watch Monday Night Raw suffer from Alzheimer's, because that's how they're booking it and that's how they're putting the show together. The one hope that I have, and hopefully it is a silver lining, is that the SmackDown Go Home show will be a better quality show. Now, I know that the Go Home show going into Fastlane was to be polite, terrible. It was not a good show, but ever since Fastlane, SmackDown has been solid. They've been putting together a solid build toward WrestleMania, and I really think that they are going to be the matches to watch when you're watching WrestleMania 34, because the Raw side of things, quite frankly, looks like a bit of a disaster. But for now, I'll stop ranting on the red brand. I thank you for making it this far in the video. If you liked what you heard, give me a thumbs up. Leave me a comment down below what you liked, what you didn't like. Thumbs down if you didn't like the video, but do leave a comment down below to let us know what you didn't like about this particular recap of Raw. As always, like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.